Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is the first of the Weird Wednesdays, and on Weird Wednesdays we're going to talk about stuff that's weird. It could be UFOs, UAPs, whatever you choose to call them. It could be Bigfoot phenomena, ghosts, things that go bump in the night, just some of the weird things that happen in the world that we live in. So I'm glad you're here for this. Give you a little bit of background. I have experienced a number of different things over my lifetime that I just can't explain. I'm not going to say that it's paranormal. I'm not going to say that there is not a rational explanation. I'm just saying that in looking at it, I have not been able to find really rational explanations for what some of this phenomena was. So let's say in that, let me give you a little bit of background. It started, I'm going to say about 60 years ago, maybe 62, 63, when some weird things started to occur. And we're going to take these in increments. For today's video, we're just going to delve into some of the UFO or UAP phenomena that I experienced, and still to this day have not found a rational explanation for what it could be. So I was born in Maryland. My parents had a brick house in Maryland, Somerset County, down on the lower eastern shore. And the house had a 50-foot TV tower right beside our chimney on would be the east side of the house. Our house was oriented east-west. So if you look out the kitchen window, it would be due north. If you were on our front porch and looked out, it was due south. So when the sun came up, it would basically come up on the east side of the house, go across, go down on the west. So that's the orientation that we had. As a child, that TV tower, it was a three-legged tower, and it had crisscross braces. It was basically a 50-foot ladder right next to our house, maybe 12 inches, 14 inches away at most from our roof as it went up the side of the house. So as a kid, boom, climb up there, easy, just take that. Chimney was right there. You could just grab hold of that, step right onto the roof of the house, and we'd have free reign to go across the whole roof of the house we lived in. It was just a single-story house. So it could have been bad if we'd fallen off there, but nothing like if it was a two-story house. But I would go up there as a child, and where we lived, since it was out in the country, we had a dusk-to-dawn security light in the front yard off to the side. We had one in the backyard back there. But the way the angles of the house was oriented and the roof lines of our front porch and everything, there was right on the southeast side of the house, you could get down in the valley there and you didn't have any light pollution. You could sit there and look straight up at the sky at night and didn't have the light pollution. You could really see the heavens at night on what was going on there. I used to go up there, especially in the summertime, be out, crawl up, and just sit there for hours and just look up at the sky, just watch the sky. And I would see lights. You would see very faint lights up in the sky, and they would move along it. I mean, we saw aircraft. There was an airport in Salisbury, Maryland. There was one, we were on like a major route going up and down the coast. So we saw planes, saw the lights on the planes, the navigation lights and so forth, blinking lights. Saw a lot of them. I was familiar with them. What I'm talking about is just solid lights, and they would be, you could tell they were a long way away. They were in space moving. And you could see the stars, and you would see this thing, and it wasn't a shooting star, anything like that. Saw plenty of them as well. These lights would be up in the atmosphere and space. And you would see them move along, and I could watch them. You just see this light moving, 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 and the speed at which it would move, and as far away as it seemed, it had to be going really fast to be that far away and moving as fast as it did. When I would watch them, they would move, they would sometimes stop, they would reverse course, go back. I've seen them move there, stop, and go at a 90-degree angle and do circle. I mean, all kinds of different things. And as a child, I had no idea what it was. It was just neat to me just to see it. And to this day, I still can't tell you what it might have been. I don't think it was satellites, because to my knowledge, a satellite doesn't move forward, stop, reverse course in 90 degrees and everything like that. I saw one night, I only saw it once, but I was up there, and there was two lights, and they would move, it would come up and stop, and the other light would actually almost like hopscotch around it, or jump over, come around to the side, stop. Then this one would come around in front of the other one, stop, and they were basically just hopscotching kind of each one across the sky. I mean, totally weird. Tell me what kind of an aircraft can do that. I've never seen anything like it before or since. So it's one of those other things, just a weird aerial phenomenon that I saw, that just chalking it up to that. But a lot of things like that. But as I said, they were quite a ways up. I mean, faint lights, not real big, but seemed to be a long way away. Now, come fast forward to when I was in the 3rd grade, I was a Cub Scout. Our Cub Scout meetings used to be held on a Wednesday. Every month we would have our monthly Cub Scout meeting would be on Wednesdays. One particular day, I had worn my Cub Scout uniform to school, went to the meeting that evening. One of my classmates, his mother was our den mother there. So we went to his house, had our meeting, and then my mom came to pick me up. And our Cub Scout meetings, we got out of school around 3:30 or so. So they lasted about an hour. My mom came to pick me up about 4:30, 4:45. When she got off work, she came to get me. So we were driving home, and she had a big old, I want to say at the time it was like a 62 Pontiac Catalina, huge boat of a car, had a large expanse behind the back seat. You could actually lay up there and look straight up through the back window, which we did a lot of times. Back then, seat belts was something that was fairly new. I assume that car had. They didn't have the lap belt. They just had the lap belt, not the shoulder belt and all that other stuff. There was no laws that you had to have a seat belt on. There was nothing about child restraint, none of that. So we had kind of free reign of the inside of the car. I was back there, and as we were driving home, I saw it was still daylight, and I looked up and saw this brilliant white light up in the sky. And it would have been, if you're looking due south, it would have been about a 10 o'clock configuration in the sky. If you're using the south as like a clock face, if you look up, it looked to be a metallic object, very bright, no aircraft warning lights, nothing like that, nothing blinking, just a steady, solid, brilliant white light just hanging up in the sky. And I could tell this was not up in space, this was in the sky. I don't know, how far up it was. I just knew that, okay, this is something weird that I've never seen before. And it was just hanging there in the sky. And the whole ride home, we were about 4.5 miles away from where my Cub Scout den mother lived. So the whole way home, I'm kind of looking at this when I could see it. We're going through woods part of it, so I'd lose sight. But then as soon as we cleared it, I could see it again. It stayed in the same place in the sky. And get home, and I'm looking at it, still trying to figure out what it is. Couldn't figure it out. And time went on, the sun went down to the west, it set. This thing never moved in its orientation in the sky. It stayed the exact same place the whole time. Which, if this, the rotation of the earth and the heavens moving across, it should have moved if it was an object in space or something like that. It should have gone, down past the horizon where the sun went down. Didn't do that. It stayed exactly in the same orientation, the same spot. Well, I would come out, it got dusk, it's still there. And the darker it got, the brighter it seemed to be. And I would go out because I was so curious about it. I kept going outside on our front porch, looking over there, checking for all evening, just seeing this. And I got my parents, they come look at it. What is this? And my dad, well, maybe it's the planet Venus or something like that we're just seeing. Like, well, why have we never seen it before? I'm 8, 9 years old, something like that. Lived at, this place all my life. Why have we never seen this happen before if it's a planet or something like that? That doesn't make a lot of sense. He's a welder, very pragmatic man. Well, I don't know. Went in, he didn't think too much more about it. So I kept checking. It stayed there, it stayed there, it stayed there. Finally, I want to say it was after 9, between 9 and 9:30, something like that. I went out on the front porch. Moon was up. This thing is still there. I saw the moon kind of rise. It stayed right there as the moon was coming up. And still there, still there. Well, finally, about, like I say, between 9, 9:30, something like that, I went out, and I know it was moving. It was actually coming from west to east. So when the rotation of the earth, normally when you see the sky, the stars, they will move across from east to west. Just like the sun will come up east, set in the west, moon rise, and so forth. So it was going contrary to what I would consider like the natural laws, the rotation of the earth. It was going the opposite direction. But it was totally silent, did not make a sound, did not have any kind of warning light on it whatsoever. I just watched it very slowly and deathly quiet, just be moving across, coming across, and it was going to end up being, if we're looking now due south off of our porch, it would have come up just about, say, the 1 o'clock position, almost overhead, but just slightly to the south. So it was, I could see it there, but it wasn't directly over the house, but it was pretty darn close to it. It's in the sky. You could see stars beyond it. So I know it's a lot closer than these stars are. It's in the air. So I ran in, got my parents. They came out. Sister came out. We're all standing on our front porch watching this thing just come across the sky, just like I say, very slowly, just silently. It moved on across, moved in front of us, kept going to the east, and we just watched it, not a sound being made, just watch this thing go slowly. And it took, from the time I first noticed it moving, coming across, it moved there in about, I would say, maybe 20 minutes from hanging in this one spot for hours. Once it started moving, it moved across the sky in about 20 minutes or so in front of us. And we watched it. And then when it would have gotten over in, say, the 10 o'clock position, looking due south right there, we were watching it. And all of a sudden, this thing just went whoosh. Just took off. It was there 1 second, and then it just streaked away. I can't imagine anything accelerating that fast. But it was just like a blur. Boom, it was gone. Which totally freaked me out. It shook my parents up. They weren't quite sure what to make of it either. We kind of talked about it. And then on the local news that would come on at 11 o'clock at night, I was in bed, but the next morning when I was getting ready for school, I heard my parents kind of talking about it, that had been seen there. And we had Air Force Base in Dover, Delaware. There's some other air packs. River was there, Maryland, a lot of bases around. That they had actually scrambled 2 jets to chase this thing. They got there, and what I've given to understand is the jets could not catch it. It outran them. So nobody knew what it was. And again, I never saw anything like that prior to that. I never saw anything just like that since. But just one of those weird things. I can't imagine it's a balloon, because number one, a balloon can't disappear that quickly. Yeah, a balloon to just hang in one specific spot for hours, I don't know that that's possible unless it's tethered. This thing, when it was not tethered, if it was something that was tethered, then someone would have known, oh, we got this balloon and, something's going on with it. Nothing. And to this day, 60 some years later, I still can't tell you what it was, other than it was one of the weirdest things I've seen in the sky. Not the only weird thing. I'm going to have some more of those later. What I plan to do on Weird Wednesdays is I'm going to kind of bring a timeline up some of the weird things that I've seen throughout my life, and I'm going to kind of follow that timeline progression on these Weird Wednesdays on some things that have happened and things that I've seen. And I'm going to have other stories of what some other people have seen as well. But it's just one of those things that make you scratch your head and go, huh. I don't know. If you guys have any idea what it may have been, please put it in the comments. If you know what it is, I would love to find out. Because like I said, it's been 60 years. And to this day, I still do not know what that was. But if you like this kind of content, please like, subscribe, share it with your friends. It's just, I'm not trying to make you a believer if you're a skeptic. I totally understand. I'm not going to say that it's little green men, that it's something, it could be military stuff. All I'm saying is I have no clue what it was. So if you guys have an understanding of what it may be, again, please let me know. I'd love to find out. If you guys have stories of your own that you would like me to share, please comment, let me know, and I will gladly share your stories as well on these Weird Wednesdays. So guys, take care, have a great day, and keep looking up, keep looking around you. I will see you later. Thank you.